I blame Disney. Disney has frigged around with so many mentalities when it comes to dating and relationships. Pardon my French, but y'all gotta understand where I'm coming from here. There's no such thing as love at first sight. There's no such thing as automatically finding that right person and the love is just exuberating. There's nothing we have to do to maintain this relationship. Really? This is 2017. If you don't make love a priority in your life, you will never find it. Because guess what? Love is something that has to be nurtured. Love is something that has to be catered to. It has to be created. You find people who are compatible. But even when you find someone who's compatible, it doesn't mean that you're going to find love. Because if you're not focusing on love, you're not focusing on the relationship. And this brings us to a very important point because a lot of our relationships are superficial. The only things we focus on in relationship these days is how tall a person is, how handsome a person is, how pretty she is, how does she look, what does he have, material things. And see, that's why you find attraction can only carry you so far. But what happens after that attraction runs out? What happens after you get bored? When their looks get somewhat played out? Because believe me, looks can get played out very easily. You have to have depth to your relationship to continue along in a healthy manner if you want longevity. And so the question I want to pose to everybody out there watching this video is, what are you focusing on? Do you even know why you're in this relationship? So many of us think we know what we want, but we never slow down to really ask ourselves what we're interested in or what it is we desire. A lot of us are in relationships simply because we don't want to be lonely. Simply because we don't want to be with ourselves. Simply because we think that by being alone is some kind of judgment that we are incapable of finding love. But that's not necessarily so. And this is why you find a lot of people in relationships always end up at these similar problems, you know? It's the same issue with different people. Same issue, just a different place, different time. And the reason is because we don't do a good job of assessing ourselves instead of really spending time with ourselves, finding out what is it that I need, what is it that I want, what is it that I'm distracted by, what are some things that I'm still searching for. Until we can ask those questions, our relationships will always end up in ruin. Relationships are not 50-50, and I've said this before. Relationships are 100-100. You can't come into a relationship with lack because that means you are now dependent on something from someone else. And so usually how relationships start off, and I've said this before too, we meet at a club or a party, you know, there's sexual tension between us, we're dancing, we're flirting, we exchange numbers, and so, you know, we flirt a little bit more for about a week or so until someone decides to make that action to say, hey man, maybe we need to link up. You have passionate sex. It's the best sex you ever had in your life. You do that for maybe about 3 times, and then you start to ask yourself the question, man, who is this person I'm involved with? Because what used to be something that I wanted to do is now not something I'm interested in. This is why we lose the flame in relationships. We're focusing on the wrong things, and we don't do a good job on building love. Don't be afraid of love. Sometimes you give your love to a person and that person disrespects it and hurts your love. But that doesn't mean that love is not something you should aim for. Doesn't mean that love is something that you shouldn't express. Something that you shouldn't be involved with or aim to be in. You just gotta remember sometimes when everybody deserves your love. And we just have to do a better job of recognizing that before we give ourselves to people in a haphazard way. You know, we got people this day and age, you know, unfortunately there are babies that are coming before love. Unfortunately, we're living as though we're married and we're not married. We have the perks of husband and wife, but we're not even engaged. And so you find the relationship game is very twisted because the expectations are set so far in the future that we can't appreciate right now and what it means for right now. Why are we doing all of these things over here when we're not there yet? We don't have to be there if we're not there. Who says you have to assume this role? Who says you have to do this? Who says you have to be that? See, folks, this is why we can't ever get to these healthy places in relationships. We're allowing too many people to say too many things to us that's not helping us get to where we need to be. And so, if you find that the spark is dying always in your relationship, or it's just so hard to maintain this attraction in the relationship, chances are you're focusing on the wrong things. Make sure you understand what it is you want and need from this relationship. Then and only then should you engage in one. All right? So as always, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and give it a share so someone else can get this message too. All right? Take care.